G'day everyone, Brett again. Welcome to number 2. Now number 2s are traditionally crap, so we'll get the shit episode out of the way from the word go. That way we can get into the main body of the content of the other 145 episodes in earnest post this one. Now on the subject of talking about 1s and 2s, this week we're going to have a little look at freediving and bodily functions and bodily fluids, excrement, and how to get rid of them, how to deal with problems when the inevitable arises. People often ask, number one question I get asked is, do you pee in your wetsuit? Reply, how can you not pee in your wetsuit? It's a natural act. When you're in the water, you're totally relaxed, and when I'm totally relaxed, I just like to let everything go. In fact, if you even see me in a wetsuit, chances are if we're talking, I'm peeing. I generally probably only have one pee a dive. It begins the split instant I put my foot in the water and possibly ends about 3.5 seconds after I've emerged from the water 6 hours later. If you're in a 6-hour competition, I say it's physically bloody impossible to not piss in your wetsuit. So let the pee be free, just go with the flow and you'll feel a lot better than if you try to hold it in. When I get home, it's a bit of a difficulty for me because I dive every day. If I'm relaxed on the couch, I actually have to physically think, oh, I'm at home. I better not just piss while I'm laying here. I must actually get up and do something. When you reach a certain age, also, getting up in the middle of the night and standing at the bowl for about 4.5 minutes waiting for the merest trickle to emerge, the fact that when I'm underwater, it comes freely and easily is a blessed relief. Number 2s are a different kettle of fish. When you're caught short out there, well, what do? Probably helps not to eat Indian the night before or Thai food or anything else that gives you an upset tummy. Possibly not good to have the bad prawn in a bunch either. So just watch your diet prior to the next day's diving. But if you do go out and get on it, chances are you're not going to be watching what you eat and you'll shove anything down in there. And the next morning, if you're feeling caught short, you're going to have to deal with it. For this reason, I prefer the high-waisted pant as far as my wetsuit goes. This allows for easy exposure to the bum to the sea. Simply remove the belt, lift the jacket up, pull the strides down, bang, job done. A simple matter. If you do live in the cooler climes, and if you have a tendency towards wanting to wear a full long john with bib and brace, it's going to be a lot more difficult proposition, and one that is best done by a quick movement to the shoreline or a rapid exit onto the boat and hopefully find the nice bucket. Remember always too, if you're on somebody else's boat, make sure you clean the bucket, and also when you are removing the contents from the bucket, just make sure you are aware of the proximity of your partner's snorkel. I'll just relay an incident you might find amusing, you might find disgusting, you might find instructional. Many years ago at one of the Mornington Peninsula Ocean beaches, it was a very cold August day, but the ocean was flat. I had been out the night before, I had got on it a little bit, and I had also eaten stuff that did not quite agree with me the next day. Normally in the morning I try to do a constitutional prior to the dive, but this day was too good to pass up. Hangover and all, made it to the water's edge, swam out and started to conduct the dive. It was quite clear about an hour in that I would have to rapidly make my way back to the beach, wearing the traditional old bib and brace long john style trouser. It had to be beach now or suffer the consequences. Now, in case you haven't noticed, I am quite a large chap, and when I stick a wetsuit on, you can rest assured that it is stretched to within breaking point. It has gone to its limit. There is not much room in there for anything else. On this particular occasion, I'm heading to the shore. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. There is no room for anything in my wetsuit, or nothing extra anyway. So when an immovable object meets an irresistible force, weird shit is going to happen. And this explosion, this rupture, was of nuclear proportions. This was a weapon of mass destruction. I have never felt the spread of warmth over a body as much as this particular day, because of the tightness of the suit, because of the severity of the eruption. Bits of excrement were actually protruding like toothpaste from the wrist cuffs and the ankle seals and even around the neck seal. It had GoPros been invented back then, I'd have got 85 trillion hits and would never have had to work ever again. Needless to say, the relief was instantaneous. The wetsuit was further stretched beyond belief, and it was quite a sight to see a large, naked, fat man covered in brown stain, totally naked at the water's edge, washing himself on a very cold, hail-driven weekday morning on the Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. I do believe that 4 or 5 old ladies may have died from heart failure on that particular morning. I apologise to their families. In short, if you get caught short, make sure you have the correct equipment, and the correct equipment is high-waisted pants. Make it easier for yourself when it comes time for the unthinkable to occur. Be sure to warn any of your buddies down current if you are going to have a crap in the water. It is sometimes not a good thing to be swimming around and suddenly the visibility goes from 10 metres to brown cloud. Even though you up current are having the time of your life and giggling away merrily, it's not necessarily good for the person who may or may not ever be your friend ever again. As divers, as boaters, as whatnot, we do have occasionally a problem with seasickness. If you've ever suffered seasickness, you know it is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to have. Personally, never suffered. Can't wait for the day it does happen, because apparently it happens at least once in your life prior to death. When a friend or a partner or a buddy is suffering from the effects of seasickness, it is best that you leave them alone and try not to make fun of them. It's best to do that, but it is actually impossible to do that. If someone is seasick around you, you just cannot help yourself, and you have to make light of the situation, because let's face it, you're exceedingly happy that it isn't you. Also be aware that in spearfishing competitions, both vomiting and crapping are banned as part of the no artificial burley policy. So just make sure that prior to comps, days prior to comps, even weeks prior to comps, keep your bowels void, keep everything in you that's nice and good. Eat nothing but tofu. Tofu is good for everyone apparently, and there are no harmful or ill effects from it, and it keeps animals safe. Hope you've enjoyed this. This was the number 2. This is the shit episode. From now on it gets better. And remember, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. See you next time. Thanks.